Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jackie and today I am here to talk about the top 6 books I want to read in 2017 and some of my most anticipated releases of this year. So I can decide to combine these two videos together. Normally I would do it separately because my top books I want to read this year is very small compared to last year's, mostly because the books I want to focus more on this year are my review books that I've gotten from publishers and authors in the past, so that's why it's kind of small, and I figured I would just combine it with my most anticipated releases, because why not? So without further ado, I'm going to jump right in and get started. So I'm going to talk about the books that are on the top of my priority list this year first. So starting off with number 1, which is going to be, I think, on most people's lists if they haven't read this book already, and that is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I recently hauled this in my December book haul, which I'll have a link to down below. This is a YA contemporary novel that follows our main character Star, who witnesses the murder of her best friend Khalil at the hands of a white police officer. And it kind of takes off from there. This is inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement. This was like the top book on everybody's top books of 2017 video, so I need to read this because I feel like I'm the only one who hasn't, so this is definitely number 1, or at least at the very top. The next one, speaking of most anticipated release of last year, is Forest of a Thousand Lanterns by Julie C. Dow. This is an East Asian retelling of the Evil Queen fairy tale. Now, if you guys have watched any of my NaNoWriMo vlogs, and even some of my other vlogs, my reading vlogs, you know I wrote an Evil Queen retelling myself for NaNoWriMo last year. And this book that I've been writing, I always need some inspiration, so I'm going to see how Julie C. Dow wrote her retelling and, just get some inspiration, because Evil Queen retellings, why not? The next one has been on my TBR for years, and that's Allegiant by Veronica Roth. This is book 3 in the Divergent trilogy. I have read Divergent and Insurgent twice now, I want to say. I read Divergent years ago, right? I actually saw the movie first before I read the book because I had no clue it was a book at the time. And then I read the book, then I reread it to read Insurgent, and now I just need to read Allegiant. It's been over a year since I read Divergent, so it's about time I move on to the final book in the trilogy. Please no spoilers in the comments because I don't want to know anything about the ending. I know this is a very mixed opinion book, so let's see what I think. Speaking of Veronica Roth, the next book I have to talk about is Carve the Mark by Veronica Roth. This was like on one of my most anticipated releases of last year because I, again, have read the Divergent trilogy up until Legion at least. And then this is her other science fiction novel. This, I know, is another very controversial book. There's supposed to be some problems with the race aspects of this book, but I've also heard some positive things. Oh, hopefully I'm more on the positive side. I don't know at this point. My opinions could change once I start reading it. The next one is American Gods by Neil Gaiman. I know nothing about this book, but everybody loves it, so I'm assuming it has to do something with American Gods. I literally know nothing, guys. So, and the last book that is on the top of my priority list is a book by an author who I've read pretty much every book she's ever released, and that is The Host by Stephenie Meyer. Stephenie Meyer is, as many of you guys know, is the author of the Twilight Saga. That series was one of the biggest series that got me into reading years and years ago, and I get to read The Host. So, all I know is it's something about alien invasions. So, hopefully I like this. Alright, so those are all of the top 6 books I want to read in 2017. Now I'm going to go into some of my most anticipated releases of the year. And I have my laptop right here, so I'm just going to be reading off of this. So number 1 is a book I've actually already read because I had an arc of it. You guys might have heard about it in my December wrap-up. Again, that will be linked down below. And that is Zenith by Sasha Alsberg and Lindsay Cummings. This comes out on January 16th. Like I said, I've already read it. I loved it. I highly recommend you guys pick it up. It is a YA science fiction novel that takes place in space and follows some kick-ass female space pirates. What else do you guys need? Please go pick it up. It's fantastic. Number 2 is Arashat and the End of Time by Rachani Chosky. Roshani Chomsky is the author of the Star Touch Queen duology, I believe that's what it's called. I have not read that series, but I've heard really good things about it. And this is her newest book. It's actually under the imprint that Rick Riordan runs. He's the author of the Percy Jackson series. And this is inspired by Hindu mythology. That's really cool, so I'll definitely be picking that up. And that comes out on March 27th. Number 3 is The Bells by Danielle Clayton. This comes out on February 6th. This is a YA fantasy novel that in this society, I guess, beauty is kind of like a currency. Everybody's born morally gray. And these people called the Bells are the ones who control beauty. And our main character, I believe her name is Camilla, she is competing to be the top belle. So, yes please. Number 4 is Hamilton and Peggy by L.M. Eliot, and this comes out on January 2nd. I love Hamilton, and this is about Alexander Hamilton and Peggy Schuyler's friendship. Yes please, more Hamilton. Yes please. Number 5 is probably tied with Zenith for my most anticipated release of this year, and that is A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. This comes out on May 1st. Yes, you guys know how much I love the ACOTAR trilogy. One of my favorite series of all time, easily. Cannot wait. And this is, I guess, a novella that goes along with the ACOTAR trilogy, so cannot wait to see what happens to our beloved characters in this novella. Number 6 is Batman Nightwalker by Marie Lu. This comes out on January 2nd. This is the second book in the DC Icons series. I think that's what it's called. The first book was Wonder Woman Warbringer, which I read back in October. I loved that book. And now we got Marie Lu, who is one of my favorite authors, and she's writing about Batman, one of my favorite superheroes. And these are like stories that are following the superheroes when they're teenagers, so gonna be interesting. Number 7 is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, and this comes out on January 2nd as well. Lots of January 2nd releases. I've never read a book by Holly Black, but I know she's like the master of Fae, and you guys know how much I love Fae. And I believe this follows a character, his name is Jude, and him and his siblings, their parents are killed, and they have to go to the Fae Kingdom, and years later, Jude doesn't want to leave, so I believe it's a female main character. Correct me if I'm wrong. She wants to stay in the Fae Kingdom, but the Fae don't really like humans, so okay, I'm definitely gonna give Holly Black my first try, because Fae, yes please. Number 8 is Everless by Sarah Holland. This also comes out on January 2nd. The only thing I know about this book is it has a really pretty cover. That's what drew me in. Some of these are actually cover reasons why they're on my most anticipated pieces of this year. Number 9 is Unearthed by Amy Coffin and Megan Spooner. This is a YA science fiction novel that's supposed to be like Indiana Jones. That's all I know. This comes out on January 9th, so I'll be checking that out. I heard really good things about Amy Coffin and Megan Spooner's writing in the past, so yes, that and Indiana Jones. Sounds good. The next one is The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. This comes out on January 30th. Unearthed comes out on January 9th. I forgot to say that. The Hazelwood follows our main character who has just lost her grandmother. And her grandmother was like this really famous author of these twisted fairy tales. And her mother is kidnapped right after her grandmother dies, and she is told to stay away from the Hazelwood, which is the mansion that her grandmother lived in, I believe. And her mom, like I said, gets kidnapped by supposedly one of these creatures from the world where her grandmother's characters lived. I've actually heard really great things about the Hazelwood, so I'm really excited to pick that up. And the last book I have to talk about for my most anticipated releases is Reign the Earth by A.C. Gowan. Oh my god, I hope I said it right. This comes out on January 30th, and I don't really know anything about this. Again, this is another one of those, ooh, that cover is pretty, and Haley over Haley and Bookland says it's good. So I'm gonna put that on my most anticipated releases. Again, I can't help it sometimes, guys. I'm not sure I'm not the only one, right? That is all I'm gonna have for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already. I'll be sure to have all my social media links linked down below if you guys are interested in following me on Twitter, Instagram, Goodreads, or my blog. Again, those links are all down below. And with all that being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you soon for another video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye!